All right. What's up, everybody? We are live. Welcome to the Body Lock Tailgate Show. Appreciate you joining us. I, of course, am joined by Mr. Wells and Mr. Riggs, who was a little early on his little pedestal thing, but that's okay. We'll cut him some slack.
It's a tailgate, man. That's how it goes.
It is. It's a tailgate. I mean, you can do whatever you want here. So thank you so much for joining us. We are just hours away from UFC 260. Boys, how are you feeling about this? I mean, in terms of this pay-per-view, what's your hype level right now, 1 to 10?
It's about a 5-6-ish for me. I mean, I'm here for it though. I'm here for it. It's fights, big fights at the top end, I guess, a couple of them. But yeah, this is I just tweeted out a stat that there's only 6 fighters coming off of a win on this card. Wow. Out of the 20 fighters. So, I mean, it's a night for a lot of guys to, reestablish themselves in the UFC. So that's the way I'm looking at it. It's a night of redemption.
Yeah, it's definitely a night of redemption. Drake, I know you've been battling old COVID, almost back to 100% now. What's your hype level at? Is this, after the long, arduous fight against COVID, are you just stoked to see this card, or is it kind of like, man, I really wish we had a different pay-per-view right now?
Yes, I'm going to go with that. I'm very deflated, not only from my own battle, but the fact that we lost Volkanovski Ortega. We lost Penne Goldie, which I know that's not a huge one for people, but I was really looking forward to seeing Penne get back in her story. And, other fights. There's been more that we've lost from that. I'm so deflated about this. I'm at like 2.5. I really am not. I don't care too much about tonight, except for the main event. Like, honestly,
I mean, it's tailgate. No holding anything back. Just not feeling it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. We lost. I was really looking forward to Luana Pinheiro versus Marcos.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I'm glad Alonzo Menifield has a new opponent, but I think the fight against William Knight would have been more fun rather than, I mean, then again, Fabio Chirat, which we'll get into here, I am actually pretty high on him, so it could be a banger anyway. But yeah, it's I'd probably give it a 6. Like I obviously I like Stipe. I mean, so I got a little wear my Stipe shirt. So I'm excited to see him, fight Ngannou, see if Ngannou has made the adjustments that he needs, to see how it goes down. But overall, yeah, I mean, we losing Ortega Volkanovski was rough sauce. But well, with that in mind, before we dive any more into the card, what are you guys drinking? And if you just joined us, thank you for joining us at the Tailgate Show. Let us know what you're doing right now. If you're chilling, having snacks, drinking something. If you have any questions, this is wide open. So we're just free flowing here. So, in fact, here's Fightful MMA. Great question. What inspired Drake's Samurai Man bun?
I don't know. It's like, so ever since I dyed my hair, it's got more like volume to it and is a lot poofier. So like, I don't know. This morning it was a little poofy, so that's kind of where we are. I've pulled it back. It's been rolling with it, dude. Good to see you, Shaq. I'm assuming that's our boy.
Yeah, I would also assume. I don't know who else would be on the football count.
SRS, baby. Who knows?
Yeah, could be anybody. Matt, you drinking anything or eating anything special for the tailgate? You just chilling?
I'm getting my energy in me, so I'm drinking some Advocare Spark right now, trying to get the juices flowing a little bit. So I've got the seasonal snowberry flavor right here. This is what I've mixed up. It's actually pretty delicious. Yeah, it's blackcurrant and lime flavors. So yeah, that's what I'm sipping on right now. I gotta get the juices flowing, man, because like we said, this is not the most exciting card on paper. So I mean, we got a long haul ahead of us, but hopefully these guys bring it, man, and I can switch to alcoholic beverages as the night progresses.
Drake, I'm gonna assume that despite your COVID issue, you're just going full on strawberry natty light flavored something of that nature.
I don't have those anymore. We got drank them all down a month or so ago since we did that tailgate. But no, man, as much as I would fucking love to get like wasted right now, I'm still like I'm worried about how it might feel and like if it'll be way worse, because still got it in me. So I am on edge and don't want to feel any shittier than I have recently. So I'm going with ultimate hydration, body armor. There you go. So we're throwing it out there.
I'm pretty sure that's worse for your body than alcohol. When it
yeah. These things make me feel great. So maybe not in the long run, but maybe I enjoy them.
Well, there you go.
I love the free sponsorship plugs we're dropping.
I know.
Oh yeah, yeah. If Body Armor happens to be joining our show, make sure that you
hit us up.
Hit us up because Drake will plug you all day. I've got the classic Magic Hat number 9, one of my favorite beers. Just
do not have P3, Jake. Those are fucking bullshit. Is what
great
those
question
are.
Great question from our producer Jake. You have P3 as well. You don't have P3, then you're not getting the full nutrients you need.
Right.
So no wonder you still have COVID, man.
That's where I went wrong. That's where I went wrong.
Haven't been eating enough P3. All right, so let's. If you're just joining us again, thank you so much for joining us at Tailgate. We at the beginning of the show gave our hype levels for where we're at for this card. I'm at a 6, Matt's at a 5, Drake's all the way down at a 2 or 3. Let us know in the comments where your hype level is for this pay-per-view. Are you still stoked despite Ortega Volkanovski going out? Are you, this would be fun, but I'm really looking for the main event. I'd rather have something a little bit more substance in my pay-per-view. Let us know. In terms of the fights we still have on the card, we're down to 10. No late notice cancellations as far as I've seen. Besides the main event, which fight are each of you looking most forward to? What's a sleeper fight that could hype us up?
Well, you want to go ahead, Drake?
Yeah. So for a sleeper, I feel like I don't know. I haven't heard a whole lot of talk surrounding the prelims in particular. And of course, we've lost a whole bunch and the card is a lot smaller now. But in terms of a fight that I think is very, very likely to deliver, I think we touched on this when we were talking about the best odds and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. The light heavyweights, Bukauskas versus Alashaychuk, Pat. Alexijuk. Jesus. I think that fight is very likely to, deliver fireworks. If I was gonna bet on which one is most likely to be the most fun out of the prelim fights that we have left, I really like that one. And then even just matchup wise with what we have leading up to the main event, I think that one has a good chance of being fight of the night, just depending on how long it lasts, because light heavyweight's more power. Both of these guys are capable of finishing each other, which I'm most likely expecting there to be a finish in this one. But I think in terms of back and forth fun, I think that one is mine pretty safely.
Makes sense.
Nice. Mine is also in the light heavyweight division on the prelims as well. And it's that fight we've kind of talked about already. Alonzo Minifield and Fabio coming in on 3 days notice. That's a big deal, man. And obviously he had issues on the scale, but taking a short notice fight and you're a big dude, that's kind of, I guess, expected in a way sometimes, maybe. I don't know. But he forfeited 20% of his purse. Fight's still going on. And of course, I'm on the Alonzo Minifield side of things here. Fortis MMA representing on this card. So I will be looking for my guy to rebound off of his loss in his last outing. So yeah, that's one of them. But I mean, there's names throughout the card that I enjoy watching, but that's probably one of my sleeper, I guess, fights, all around fights. So yeah, that's one I'm going.
Yeah, no, I think I touched on it earlier too. I mean, if you look at what Fabio has done since his time on Contender Series, where he just got wrecked by Alexa Kamur, I believe. He just got flying knee, he's really went on a run in LFA. In his last fight, he looks so much better than he used to. I still have Metafield in this fight, and it could just be a flash knockout. Could totally see that, given Metafield's power. But if it lasts longer than a couple minutes, I mean, it could be a real awesome brawl where they could just be going at it, stand up. I don't expect a lot of wrestling here. I expect kind of just stand up swinging. Like swinging and banging.
Swinging and banging.
That's yeah. So I'm excited for that fight. Might be a quick knockout, but I'm expecting it to be kind of a war. So that was my pick as well. I think that's one to watch. Any others we haven't? I really like what Tyron is saying here with Almeida versus Sean. That fight could end up being very good, especially given what we know about. When Almeida delivers, he delivers. It's been a while, but he's lost to very tough competition, as we talked about. And O'Malley, I went back and rewatched both of his last fights, and I mean, up until he, got injured by, that leg kick that Cheeto threw, he was looking pretty good. And so I expect this to be kind of a back and forth war, and I expect somebody to go to sleep. So we'll see how that one goes. Like that. Axe Rupp coming in with cards attacked. I was going to purchase the pay-per-view. Now I'll find an alternative way. Hey, man. Hey, Axe. You know what, man? Part of the ship, part of the crew, man.
Shout out to our man, Axe.
Yeah, you mean he's just going to watch it at a buddy's house, That's
what
wrong with that at all,
Yeah. Well, Tyron also saying everybody's sleeping on Thomas. He's going to beat Sean tonight. What do you guys think about that comment? I don't know. I went with O'Malley. Did both of you guys go with O'Malley as well?
Yeah, I did officially. But yeah, like we said on the what was that? Our betting video. Like the competition is not comparable with who each guy has been facing. Like Almeida's been in there against much tougher guys. Obviously, former champ. Whereas O'Malley has not faced a former champ at all on his resume. But yeah, look at Almeida's record, man. I mean, it's 3 losses in a row, but those names are guys that have been at the top of the division and guys that we are pegged to stay there for a while. So it's like, I mean, if, tonight is that fight, we find out, is Sean O'Malley really one of those same guys? Is he going to be at the top of the division for a while? And a lot of people think he will be, but Almeida's been in there against much tougher guys, and he can really shock a lot of people tonight, I think.
It's funny because as confident as I am feeling in O'Malley in this fight, I don't quite agree with that statement you just made there, Matt. Like, even if he goes out there and wins, which I'm expecting him to, I feel like that we still will have not seen that O'Malley's legit yet. Because Almeida, the guy, he just hasn't been the same, as I mentioned, since that Garbrandt knockout. And, 1 in 4 in his last 5, or, just hasn't won since 2016. And of course, yes, very tough competition, but the guy, he just plain and simply has not looked the same since Cody Garbrandt knocked him out. So we're waiting to see kind of that rekindled fire, I think, that he had before that. And it's been a mixture of competition and the inactivity with him, because the Martinez fight was his first fight in 2 years. So kind of getting the feet wet again. Martinez is a very tough guy to come back to in this ever, improving bantamweight division, which is phenomenal across the board. But because of the state of Almeida and where, we're not sure if he can get back to being that guy yet, or if the division has passed him by, all these little factors about him. O'Malley goes out there, gets the win. I don't think it's the opponent that will prove that, all right, he's ready for that upper echelon now. I mean, if he would have beat Vera, 100%, because Vera is the most legit guy O'Malley has fought. Clearly, we saw how the fight went. If he would have won that one, then we would have known, all right, the guy is ready to take on maybe another top 15 guy, because Vera wasn't, or he should have been top 15 at that point, I believe.
O'Malley was top 15 at that point. He was 14.
Really? Okay, well, that's absurd. That's backwards. Silly. That's the rankings for you. But yeah, as for this matchup, I think that we'll still have more to learn. We can learn more about Almeida in this one and where he's at than O'Malley, I think. Let's put it that way.
I see. Yeah, this is what I like to call a lose-lose fight for these guys, because if Almeida wins, then you're going to have a bunch of people saying, oh, O'Malley was overhyped. It was a hype train. He's not that good. It's whatever. And Almeida's not going to get nearly as much credit as he should. If O'Malley wins, same thing's going to happen. Oh, Almeida's lost 3 in a row. Now it's 4. It's, big prospects, but used to be after exactly what Drake is saying there. He would have been 1-5 in his last. Yeah, 1-5 his last 6. So people would say, "Oh, he's over." So no matter who wins this fight, like they're just not gonna get
proper respect.
proper respect. But it's also hard because in this type of fight too, sometimes those arguments are both accurate. Sometimes they're not, right? Like, let's say O'Malley goes out there and just knocks out Almeida. Okay, then people are going to say, oh, Almeida lost, whatever. And then his next fight, he gets steamrolled by somebody like another Cheeto Vera or someone in the lower top 15 or something. Well, okay, that was probably accurate. If he goes out there and then just keeps winning, we didn't give him proper respect. It's a weird situation type matchup where I think no matter what, it's going to depend on the winner's following fight to see where they actually are. So,
see, I kind of disagree with the whole narrative of, people are going to point to Almeida being, nobody. People are going to point to, because I've seen the O'Malley fans. I've seen how they react to things. They're kind of Diaz levelish, right? So if he goes out there and wins and knocks out Almeida, they're going to be like, see, that Marlon Vera loss was a fluke. That's what they're going to focus on, I think, more so than him beating a guy that's now that would have four losses in a row. So,
but all non-O'Malley fans are going to use the argument that Drake
true.
That's the No, if you're a fan of either Almeida or O'Malley, you're going to immediately be like, look, he just dominated who it's MMA.
Realists and smart people is what you're saying.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Many of those.
You just didn't want to say it, you guys. That's always
sure. Let's go here. Axe Maverick might make an example of Robertson tonight. Holloway versus Qatar type beatdown.
Jesus,
I've seen this.
That's bold.
I've seen a couple of handicappers who have talked about how they expect Miranda to keep this on the feet and get a TKO over Robertson and just beat the crap out of her. It's not so. I'm not super shocked by that. Looking at Miranda's previous fights, I could see that happening, but I am shocked that seems to be the narrative out of a lot of people. Like, not everyone, obviously, but
it's just a rough matchup for Jillian Robertson, no matter how you slice it. And I think that she's going to get pretty thoroughly dominated. But saying, Holloway Qatar type beatdown, that's just like the most extreme of an example you can use. So like, it's hard to imagine that happening or predicting that.
That would be amazing, actually.
That would be incredible.
That would bring my hype level to like 50.
That would be pretty nuts.
Miranda lands like the most significant strikes in a fight against Robertson, that would be unreal.
Just totally smashes Holloway's record in 3 rounds. Okay. But no, I expect her to thoroughly dominate this fight. And I think she will TKO Jillian, but I think it'll be on the ground and pound. Maybe late in the second, early in the third. Either way, I do think she'll find a finish and should win this pretty easily. But it's just a really bad matchup for Jillian, I think, and especially trying to rebound off of, her recent fights and performances. Then we'll see how much she has improved the rest of her game overall, because we know she's kind of turned into a one-trick pony. But predicting that kind of beatdown, well, I look forward to finding out. I'll tell you that much.
It could very well be a beatdown. If you look at Robertson's losses, they're all to opponents that have the same sort of physique that Miranda has, like the more muscular, like bigger girl type of physique. And she's aggressive enough to make it look that way. But if Robertson can find a way to get sticky and make it into a nice little grappling match, then things could get interesting. But I like the idea of Maverick going out there and just dominating this fight. I do. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a Holloway versus Cater beatdown. That's a whole other thing.
I love the optimism there, Axe, because that would just be the greatest surprise of the entire night by far. Here's a great question by, I hope I'm saying this right, Nodin Apollo. Will perceptions of Woodley change if he somehow dominates Luque? Ooh, that's a very good question. Who wants to take this one first?
I mean, Absolutely, they will. Like, no question about it. Because think about it. I feel like most people perceive Woodley as he's washed up now, totally. And I gave my argument on that. He's not, and he's just always fought this way, in my opinion. Of course, he is older now, but it seems like the majority of people are considering or viewing him as a guy who's washed up, needs to retire, yada yada. So in most cases, I think, if he goes out and dominates a guy like Luque, clearly that should change, right? I mean, that's just how I'm seeing that.
Yeah, dominates is the key word, I think. Like winning, if he just wins, I don't think so. But if he dominates him, and if he makes it look like the Till fight or something like that, then people will be like, okay, this guy's still got some juice in him, and let's see what he does against another top 5 next time out. But yeah, he's got to dominate it for that perception to change. If he just goes out there and wins a ho-hum decision where he's back foot against the fence, circling around on the outside the whole time, people are going to be like, he won, but he still looked pretty much like he's always looked in his last fights. He's got to go out there and dominate to make people turn their heads again, for sure.
So here's the thing, though. I think it's going to end up because I ended up picking Woodley in this fight. It was very close for me because I can see it going either way. But the reason I went with Woodley is because looking at the tape from his last couple fights, it wasn't until he was threatened with a takedown that he starts to become gun shy, especially against Covington. I think that's the biggest thing I took away from the Covington fight was he was in Covington's face, throwing, jabbing, all of that stuff. And then Covington got the takedown. And from there, he became much more worried about stopping it. He kept biting Covington's feints, all of that stuff. With Luque, right? Luque is not going to do that. He's going to stand and throw like Luque always does. And I think what's going to happen is Woodley's going to do his normal thing where he backs up against the fence until his foot hits the cage, because that's what he does. But without the threat of a takedown, I think he's going to let his fists fly. And I expect at least a knockdown, if not a finish. I did throw a flyer. I can't give gambling advice, of course, but I did throw a flyer on Woodley by submission, which was plus 2,000 or something, because I half expect a knockdown or Woodley taking it to the ground and then ended up getting a submission, which is the only way that Luque has lost other than decision. So I wouldn't be shocked if he gets down there, gets caught in a head and arm triangle choke, or, lots of different ways, I think, on the ground that Luque is in trouble if Woodley hurts him and gets on top of him. So I think it's still going to be classic Woodley, but I think he's going to get a finish and people are still going to say, oh, he's back. He's I don't know about dominated, but even if he doesn't, destroy Luque, I think he's probably still going to be seen as, oh, we over exaggerated his fall from grace. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, but
I don't know how you can over exaggerate, losing 15 straight rounds. Just brutally.
Yeah.
But to the best, right? The top 3 guys in the division?
Fair, yeah. Very fair.
Right?
It's still like you can lose every round, but you can also lose every round and look competitive. Like he hasn't looked competitive. Like there's a difference.
Yeah. Several 10-8s.
Yes.
Well, and that's where.
Well, actually, on that point, there was actually only 2 official 10-8 rounds in those stretches. But yeah, no, I agree. I think I'm trying to pull up MMA decisions here and see how many like the media dished out, but officially there was only 2 10-8 rounds in that stretch.
Oh, I gave out a healthy amount. I had every round in that Usman fight 10-8 except for I think the first round. That was just one-way traffic, guys. Come on.
Well, you're not a judge, are you, Drake? You also
By the way,
scored the Oh, go ahead.
Before you go into other stuff, Woodley though he's climbed a little bit, right? He was plus 2 something earlier in the week, 220, 30ish. So he's going up. He's
down to plus 190. I saw on a couple sites, but
the ticker here has 180.
Oh yeah, there you go. I forgot about the ticker.
Right.
Shout out to Jake.
Yo, I just pulled up the MMA decisions for Woodley versus Usman, and They actually put up Jed Meshu's score 50-39.
Yeah, which is,
That's something else.
I had that 50-43. So yeah, there's a couple 10-8s in there for me. But yeah, wow. Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Let's see. Tyron, Tyron, his last win was 2016, right?
Yeah.
I think that's been that long. Mark Fellows, crack some beer. I just switched over to Ryan Guy's Truth from Cincinnati. My brother brought this down. Great stuff. So another type of beer there.
Nice.
Ooh, producer Jake asking me, how are you feeling about the 350K buy estimate now? Feeling pretty good. I think that's probably, I don't know. We'll also
was this before Volkanovski and Ortega?
No, this was after Volkanovski and Ortega dropped. Okay. But reason being,
as Pat has said multiple times, it's all about the main event.
I've said that too.
Exactly.
I just wanted to see if he was sticking to it. that is
clearly I've been watching the Fight Business podcast because I say it almost every time I do.
Yeah. Jake needs to put a counter on the screen every time you say it.
Yeah.
I mean, you should. Because you'd be surprised again how many people I see like, oh, Volkanovski Ortega's off. It's gonna drop by 200K buys. I'm like, no, it's not how it works. But
listen, let the press conference tell it. There's only one fight on this card. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm still going higher than because I think I think Ngannou versus Miocic. I thought it only done 300K, but it ended up doing 380 the first time UFC 220.
Don't know.
Yeah. Either way, I think 350 is a solid guess because I still expect with a lot of the world is still either in lockdown or still kind of shut down, not doing things. I would imagine that that's going to still give them a slight bump. Otherwise, like if the world was 100% back to normal, I would imagine this does 300K or less, maybe even 200 something, because it's not the same feel. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't feel like the same build up the first time around, right? Where it was, like it's not even remotely there to me. So
I feel like despite the fact that Francis is the favorite again, as Jake was pointing this out in our Slack chat the other day, like the common perception still feels like, all right, we saw how this is going to go. There's no proof that it should go any other way, because that's the thing about this fight for me is like Francis has shown us nothing to change my opinion about him learning how to deal with Stipe and a fighter who brings what Stipe brings, because he's been knocking people out in under a minute, which shows us, he can do what we knew he was really fucking good at, but that's it, like. So it takes so much more intrigue away from the fight, having seen it play out how it did the first time, right? And the only thing that we can think of is most likely that we will know is that Francis is going to be more patient. That seems like one tweak that will be a guarantee, because he was really fearless going into the first fight. Was landing his bombs, and Stipe just is a freak and ate them all. So it's like we still don't know about Francis, despite continuing to rack up these great wins and take out everybody in front of him that isn't Stipe and Derek Lewis, I guess. So, man, it takes the wind out of the sails for this rematch for me, having the buildup in their paths to this rematch in particular,
I agree with that 100%, man. I took Francis, in our official picks just because, switch it up a little bit, but I thoroughly believe like Stipe is going to win because of those reasons, man. Like I wanted to see Francis like in the fight against who was it? Rosenstrike. I wanted to see him come out there and show me something different.
Right.
Like show me like you've been adding a jab or something. Like show me you've been doing a little bit different. No, he went out there and blitzed across the octagon and just swung wildly. Like the complete opposite of what I wanted to see. And it's just like, that happened. It's like I have no answers to any of the questions I had.
See, for me,
real quick. I was gonna say, just to totally ruin Sid's compliment. Talk over right there. Thank you, Sid. The Curtis Blades rematch, that one could have told us so much. So it's like his own strengths are at the same time kind of turning into they're not a problem, but it like prevents us from seeing what we need to see kind of in preparation for these kind of matchups.
Yeah, that was my point that you just completely took.
Yeah.
Was it was going to be about
see, there we go.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just
We're connected, man.
I know you keep stealing my points, man. But no, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I think the Blades rematch is where I was going to, say that was what could have told us about the takedown defense. Could have told us about so much more. And again, just finished it so quickly it didn't matter. So he's a black box. I think this should be a close fight. I think Stipe should be the favorite, albeit maybe like -130 or -125, somewhere in that range. You can have it that close and I'm okay. I think it's kind of ridiculous he's the underdog here, given that he's beaten Francis and, there's no reason, as you said, to imagine he's not going to do it the same way. But then again, Francis has had 3 years to just work on wrestling and have us never see it. So that's part of what it is he's a huge, strong guy. I think another factor is I see a lot of people talking about how, Stipe weighs 12 pounds less in this matchup.
Yeah.
And that's big for conditioning, I think, is what a lot of people are saying, where it's an advantage. But what I'm curious about is, that's a lot more weight in terms of getting Francis to the ground. And if Francis has shored up his takedown defense enough to at least, push his hip backs more and all that stuff, I think it could end up hurting Stipe in the long run. I don't really know, but we'll see. I mean, he's a black box, man. He's just been knocking people out left and right. Who knows what Francis has been doing?
See, my thing is, like, I actually kind of disagree on the Curtis Blades point to showcase something in that fight, because Curtis was is super dangerous everywhere. Like, takedown defense, and he can knock people out. I wasn't actually mad when he went out there and blissed him, because that was also coming off of the Derek Lewis snooze fest. So he had to be like, hey, I'm still Francis Ngannou. The next fights after that, I wanted to see evolution. The Kane fight, he could have shown takedown defense, and then he just knocked out Kane when he tried to go for a takedown. So that's kind of
his defense.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's no better defense than knocking the dude out in 45 seconds.
Exactly. There's really not. But it's like, he's just not that guy that's going to give us a lot of game film. He's if he touches you, you're going to fall, and that's not his fault. I don't know if he's actually come into it like in camp. Like, I don't know if they've been saying, hey, we're going to try to work on this a little bit more in this fight. But I mean, he just touches guys and they fall. So that's not really his fault. But what can you do? What can you do?
I mean, yeah, when you get paid, a stupid amount of money and get basically a performance of the night bonus every time to just make somebody go to sleep in 45 seconds. Why? Like, even if I'm Francis and I'm going into the Stipe fight, and even if I lose and it's whatever, I'm not going to regret knocking out all of those guys in such short a time to not take any damage and to get paid a stupid amount of money to do it. Right. Like, it's so.
Well, assuming that he has been just, drilling the takedown work and the grappling, the wrestling defense, what have you, without us seeing it, then this is best case scenario for him, like to not reveal his hand to us. So
exactly.
We'll find out. So that's the exciting thing about the rematch, is that, we really don't know, but that makes it all that much harder to predict how differently it might go. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. We got a couple comments here. Let's go ahead. Axe with, there was a ton of hype for 259 in the main card, was bad compared to the prelims. With expectations low for 260, maybe it will exceed expectations. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've seen this before, right? Where we come into a card and we're like, on paper, it's okay. And then it ends up delivering just in spades with terms of knockouts, great fights, things of that nature. So it certainly could happen, right?
I mean, we're talking about vastly different cards on paper. So, I mean, 259.
That whole card was great, Axe.
I mean, yeah, no matter how it plays out, like, that's after the fact. Like, UFC already got your money at that point. Like, there's nothing they can do about how it actually plays out. Like, 260 is a little bit different because it's super main event heavy. But hey, as Pat has said on repeat, it's all about the main event anyway. So people still may buy it. Who knows? We'll find out, I guess.
Casual buyer. It's true. It's true. Radical Rosh.
This is a troll, just so you guys know. I don't know if it's the same guy or just something people have been doing, but this has been posted in a whole bunch of MMA live streams like since the fight happened. It's funny though. It is funny, but it's definitely a troll. I don't think Curtis said this.
I'm upset that Curtis didn't say this because this would be hilarious. Like for him to go to a commission and say, "No, man, I was just playing positive." Yeah,
that would be pretty hilarious.
I would be very proud of Curtis, and I would, support that effort.
Yeah, roll with it, dude.
Yeah, that's
that's
take up the commission's time. Yeah, just to take up the commission's time. Like, no, I didn't lose that, dude. I was just, doing some breathing exercises while being stiff. Play it possible. Let's see. Ooh, Mark Fellows here. Malarkey versus Worthy is a fight of the night slobber knocker prediction. Ooh, okay. So I have Worthy winning this by a KO, and I think it's going to be relatively fast, personally. But how do you two feel about it? Because I could be wrong. It's rare, but
yeah, I think Matt and I both picked Worthy as well. I know Matt did, right? Yeah. So
right, but do you think it's going to be like fight of the night or like quick knockout? Because I'm thinking quick knockout. I guess that's where. Yeah,
I mean he's definitely capable of that. He has shown it in the past. Yeah, I could see a first round knockout. I mean, I don't know how quick exactly you're thinking, like first 2 minutes maybe, but I could definitely see it in the second half of the first round. Malarkey, he hasn't been a guy that's overly impressed me. I apologize, Mark. That's your guy there, but yeah, I think that it has potential to definitely be fight of the night. Both of the styles do have that possibility, but Worthy is just kind of a guy who's kind of perpetually underappreciated a little bit. Of course, he's not in a high spot or anything, but he's very counted out still, despite the streak that he was on before losing his last fight. So I really like him in this one. I do think that he should be able to find a knockout relatively early, like you're saying, Pat, but I don't know if it'll be super duper quick or anything. and Mark agrees with me. Okay, cool.
I'm getting vibes of Martinez versus Grant from a recent UFC fight night card where everybody seems to be on Kama Worthy here, and myself included. I'm rocking with Kama Worthy, but he's not exactly a world beater, and I think we could get a little shocking upset here. So that's what kind of the vibes I'm getting as this gets closer.
I mean, I will say Malarkey's last fight against Riddle, like there were some wild exchanges where he ate some shots and threw back some shots. I thought he was going to get finished, and then he comes back and ends up hurting Riddle. I mean, that was a great fight. So I'm not trying to count out Jamie by any means, but for me, the main thing is when you look at some of the older fights of Malarkey and you look at what Worthy does, Worthy has power, right? Like,
yep.
Amin Azatar is, I still think, despite all of the crazy potato BS with the bag and all that stuff, I think he is on track to be a knockout machine in that division. Watching those Brave fights where he was just running through people, I think he's really good, and he's going to end up getting ranked, and who knows how far he goes, but I could easily see him getting in the top 10, if not the top 5 at this point. With Worthy just needs one punch to land, and it's done. And I think given Malarkey's history, some of his fights, again in Brave, I think he could get knocked out. But could be, if his chin holds up, it should be a great fight. I will say that.
Yeah.
But
that's the question.
Yes. Let's see here. This comment is just garbage and means nothing. So yeah, we'll just ignore that. Talking about me and my prediction rate, by the way.
Facts though.
It is facts so far. It's true, but whatever. It's early. Ooh, this. Yo, Dawes is saying, do you think O'Malley will finally lose to 0? No, because he lost it against Chito Vera. So
No, he didn't, dude. That was not a loss. Still undefeated.
I mean,
What I say about O'Malley fans? What did I say?
he might be trolling us too. I'm not sure, Yo, Dawes.
No,
Either
O'Malley's
look at the
definitely
emojis.
trolling.
He's joking.
Yeah, he's joking, and O'Malley is definitely joking too. But I mean, at the end of the day, all of the MMA fans don't realize that. So
Right.
It's true. It's true. And then here's one we covered in a separate video, but always good to revisit. For people that haven't seen that video, check it out after this live stream. What are the chances Tyron gets cut with a loss? Again, I'm on the opinion of if he loses and it's not just crazy domination and takes a lower level fight and is kind of okay being a gatekeeper, they may keep him around. But even then, it's not looking great for him.
I don't think they give, or he gives them the chance. I think he retires if he loses. You know, leave the gloves in the octagon because he knows what's coming. He gets paid way too much to be a gatekeeper for a division that doesn't really need one. I don't think at this point. So I could see him hanging him up and, you know, just kind of going away for a year or two and then coming back as a commentator role. You know, he's pretty good on the desk, I think. So I could see him up there with Karen and, you know, whoever else they put up there as they rotate out, you know, week to week. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a 100% chance, in my opinion. I do not see how he does not get cut with a loss, all things considered, that you guys have pointed out. But that's a great point. If, you know, Matt says right there, doesn't give him the chance to do it, and freezes that contract, you know, as people do when they retire. That's also a very real possibility. So it'll be one of those two, I think, if he loses, no matter how he loses.
Yeah. I mean, I will say if he does retire or gets cut, I'm not sure they'll keep him around for commentary just because Dana's history with him isn't the best, right? So if ESPN hired him, would be fine.
No.
If it's a UFC placement, though, I could easily see Dana being a little petty and saying, "Nah, we're done." You know. He's never.
They're bringing in more and more analysts, you know, more and more fighters to do it. So,
and there's totally room for a gatekeeper at welterweight. I mean, Cerrone's getting close to retirement, right? So I don't know what. Yeah, wow. I love Donald Cerrone, but
just Cerrone just catching a stray out here for no reason. Wow.
I bet this is totally off topic, but I bet Cerrone and Sanchez will be a double retirement fight. I bet you.
Ooh, could be. Could be. That's a gatekeeper. Maybe. I mean, possibly. Depends. Really depends on if he's really fallen off a cliff or not. We'll see tonight. The Dawes again. No shot at another promotion.
There's always a shot, but depending on kind of how he looks in a potential defeat, still 4 losses in a row, never looks good. Yes, Josh Koscheck got a chance at Bellator, for example, which is a similar kind of really rough final streak there. So when you look at like that, you're like, all right, anybody gets a shot. But then you look again at Bellator in 2021, they let go a lot of the older guys too because they were taking a lot of their money. So in similar positions to not doing very well. Look at Roy Nelson, for example. Rampage is a free agent now. They're not bringing him back. Frank Mir is gone. Like, very similar realmed fighters in terms of age and recent results. So there is always a chance. But for somebody in that position nowadays, it seems to be a lot harder. The most realistic thing, unfortunately, would be something like BKFC or just the crazy boxing circus we are seeing in general these days.
He could absolutely end up in Bellator again because him and Scott Coker have a pretty good relationship.
Right.
So he could end up.
He could, but I don't. That's the thing. I think Bellator has shifted their business model so much recently that I don't know that he necessarily gets picked up there because really what Bellator's trying to do now is bring in, I think Rumble and Romero were exceptions because Coker views them as still viable contenders for the belt, and still big names, brings in people. But I think they pretty much, on that recent string of cuts, they said, yeah, we're going to stop trying to be the veteran UFC retirement league and instead go with homegrown talent, do cross promotion with Showbox, which I fully expect is going to be a big thing moving forward. Like, people are talking about 1 or 2 cards. I would imagine, given how much Showbox is kind of struggling, they end up doing a lot of crossover things with both promotions here, and we'll probably hear an announcement about it shortly. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not 100% sure he would get picked up, even though he and Coker does have a good relationship. I could see it going either way. We got a lot of questions here. Let's run through these. Which card is Volk versus Ortega likely to be scheduled for? 262?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Matt, you have any differing opinion there?
That makes the most sense, right? Since there was no main event for that card, right? I don't think so.
It's Chandler Oliveira.
Oh, yeah.
Chandler
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that makes the most sense. Put it on there. Let's see it.
262. There you go.
Yeah.
I like this one. Worst nickname: Power Bar, Venezuelan Fighter, Lord, Fear the, or Water Buffalo.
I don't know who Power Bar is, but I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that one too. So
yeah, does it rhyme with the last name? Who is Power Bar?
Yeah. Yeah, Axe, let us know who Power Bar is, because that I want to follow that fighter more closely.
and who's
I know that's obviously Barry Alt. That's Barry Alt. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. So,
all right, well, that's not very good accompanied with that name.
Yeah, it doesn't flow very well. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
For me, it makes it better because it's so out of place. So I like that. Like, there's no reason for his nickname to be Power Bar. So.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I like Fear the, though, because that's Fear the Maverick. It goes well with the name. That one works, in my opinion. Venezuelan Fighter, I don't know who that is either. I know there's Venezuelan Vixen, but I don't know who Fighter is. Water Buffalo, I do know who that is, but I can't connect it right now. Who is that?
That's what's his name on the Fabio, who
yeah,
that works for him, for me, because he looks like Water Buffalo. Yeah. Like, he's built like one. It just works. It's like, like, if I was trying to pick a nickname, an animal nickname for this guy, I would probably go with Water Buffalo.
And I love Lord because I'm pretty sure that's Alexi Juke. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep saying it. I'm never gonna correct myself. Yeah,
it is. I didn't know
I would
he
say,
even had a nickname.
Yeah, there you go. I would say either Venezuelan Fighter, or I thought about but then the thing about it is Fear the Maverick. Like, is that a common phrase ever? Like, if you think about a Maverick, do you ever think about afraid of, like, right?
Man, I'm just trying to all with that question.
I'm just trying to envision the commentary team just calling her by Fear the and nothing else during the fight.
That's the funny thing, is usually when you hear commentary, like in Invicta, for example, they would throw in her last name like it was a part of the nickname. But like, technically, Fear the is the nickname part, but everyone's like, it's Fear the Maverick, you know. That's a good point, though, Pat. You pretty much ruined it.
yeah, I'm gonna go Fear the. I think, Venezuelan Fighter is hilarious to me too. Just like, I don't know whose that is, but just to be like, yeah, just Venezuelan Fighter. It's pretty great. Like,
that was a good combination of nicknames there, Axe. Props to you, sir.
Yeah, well done, Axe. Agreed. Sid with another question here. Who's Julian Marquez going to call out on a Pro 11th Beyonce? But I mean, I'm so disappointed in the way he handled Miley Cyrus that for me, Madonna is probably his best shot because of how old she is. But just what a ball dropping performance by Marquez there. I don't know.
I think he'll follow up on Miley. That's not an option, but that's what I'm going with. Stick to it, dude.
Yeah,
Matt.
he definitely fumbled the bag on that one. Getting Miley to respond and then throwing out more demands. Like, no, bro, just take the dub. Take the W. Take it.
Yeah, that's it's hard to watch. It's pretty rough. Rough time. Mr. Overkill, does Jared Gooden have a chance to beat the worst Nurmagomedov?
Jeez.
I mean, he has a chance, right? Everybody has a chance. And I'm not as certain that Nurmagomedov is going to win this bout. I'd give him an 80% chance, like favorite. I'd say 20% chance for Gooden myself. I don't know. You guys?
It's funny because even the quote unquote worst Nurmagomedov is still a pretty solid Nurmagomedov. You know, like, yes, he got caught very surprisingly against David Zawada in his UFC debut, but I still think that he's, you know, got a pretty likely to win this one, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I mean, Gooden has a good chance if he's going to beat any Nurmagomedov. This is the one he'll beat, right? But we'll see. Good chance, I don't know, but definitely a chance, of course.
Yeah, it's all about the takedown defense. If he can keep it standing, he'll win. If he can't, and that's usually the case with Nurmagomedov fights, no matter who the first name is. Yeah, they usually don't stay standing very long. So it's all about that.
True. And as we know in MMA, just takes one punch, just one single punch. Derek Lewis, that's his whole thing. I love him for it, but just getting beat up to say that's all. I mean, there you go. It works. Let's see. Yo, Dawes, any no contest or DQ today? Maybe a little grounded knee kick or a nice eye poke.
A nice eye poke.
Oh, yeah. One would hope that we don't have any, but given the fact you just, put a curse on
that out there.
Yeah, you put this out in the universe. I'm assuming we're gonna get a Cardinal versus who was it? Who did the main event where the groin kick just immediately ended it?
Oh, Karatanov and Mitrione.
Yes. Yeah.
Like 12 seconds.
Yeah, 12 seconds. That shot. Yeah, so probably.
And then even Yair and Stevens is another example too, with the eye poke instead.
Yep.
Man, that's crazy to look back on that one and think about like the crowd, the crazy Mexico City crowd or wherever they were. That was
throwing debris in. Regular ECW. All right. Let's see.
EC Dub.
EC Dub. Needs Grammarly. Could the winner of Sean versus Thomas fight Yanez? Ooh, I would love that fight because I'm super high on Yanez. And then who would you pick? I'd pick Yanez personally. Yeah, I think Yanez
probably beats them both.
I think he's destined for top 5 myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's with me.
I kind of want to say only if O'Malley wins. I don't see them. But then again, like Almeida's fought like ridiculous names. So yeah, they both could actually end up in that matchup. And I agree. I'd take Yanez. He's going to be a future champ and a lot quicker than I think a lot of us are pegging him for currently.
It's hard for me to go that far in that division. Yanez is looking very good, and I love your guys' belief and enthusiasm for that, but it's too soon for me to believe that. But I do think he'd beat either of these guys, depending, I guess, how they do look tonight. But I like that preemptive matchmaking there. Needs Grammarly, fantastic nickname, screen name as well.
Yeah. Great screen name. And yeah, I went top 5. I didn't go as bold as Matt did, although he could be champ. But I mean, yeah, bantamweight is stacked. It's I think it was Kaposa who was watching ACA 120 and talked about bantamweight is stacked across the world. It's not just the UFC. It's unreal. So
Babulatov just won the title over there, right? So that guy probably shouldn't have even left the UFC.
Nah, man, he deserved to get cut for that. What was it? Wasn't it like a split decision loss or something ridiculous? Like he had no.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I was. Yes, no. There was the fact they let go of him is infuriating.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Oh, I like this comment. Just nicknames Diego the Dream Sanchez. I don't know. I kind of wish he would bring it back for his last fight. Imagine
He
walking
was
out.
once Lionheart as well, which was a funny saga.
Better nicknames throughout their career. Like, who had the better iterations, him or Overeem? I would say Overeem, just on the top, because they both changed their nicknames so many times.
What? Just Demolition Man and Reem?
Oh, Reem.
Demolition
Oh,
Man Premium.
I guess unofficial
great.
nicknames too. Unofficial nicknames with the Overeem thing, because
Ubereem, true.
Ubereem, and he gave himself Econoreem.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I gotta give it to Reem just for giving himself Econo Reem. Just what a way to lead into it. Just like, yeah.
Yeah.
That
shit's hilarious.
The Flying Dutchman.
That
one's very, very minimal.
Still there though,
man. My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I do love the fact that he's had both the Dream and the Nightmare as his nicknames. That's just
yeah, that's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
Donate that man's brain to science for sure.
Yes. Well, donate. Yeah.
When it's time, hopefully many years from now. many years. Hopefully he lives a long and healthy, happy life after he's done
next
fighting.
week. Take that brain. Hashtag take that brain. Let's get it going. Let's get it going, boys.
Axe asks, if Miocic is KO'd quick by Francis, but Stipe could be back in 6 to 8 months, should they wait for the rematch or make John Jones versus Ngannou for late summer? Here's my answer to that. If you look at the press conference, and I forget who asked this. Yeah, and they were like, you think Stipe deserves the rematch? The hesitancy from Dana White,
getting shafted.
The disdain for it
was just unreal. And he was like, well, we have to look at it. It makes sense. We have, there's no way.
I was honed in on Stipe's reaction that whole time. I was like,
me too.
It was. You could just tell how bad Stipe was. Just like, oh, it's gonna, grin and bear it. But yeah, there is no way that Stipe gets a rematch before Jones. No way in hell. It's that answer from White sealed it for me. But
that just shows you, that whole reaction from Stipe just shows you he's too nice. He's too nice. Because I mean, like at least a look up at Dana or something, like give some sort, like he was just sitting there, like you could tell he was like, that's some bullshit, Dana.
But what I really think is going to happen, is like Dana's gonna, or if Stipe wins, I think Stipe is gonna like go over, instead of waiting to grab the belt, I think he's gonna just like grab it and just be like, get the fuck out of here or something. Like I think
didn't he kind of do that for one of his wins?
Yeah, he did against Ngannou. Right.
Oh, okay. Right.
Ngannou is when he did it. And so, but I expect it to be that, only an even bigger scene this time, especially after White's comments.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is I feel like Stipe is
because that's when Stipe doesn't care, is at right after he's gotten all the energy out, got his win. Fuck everybody.
Yeah. Once it's like set in stone, like, oh no, I'm the champ, you can't take anything from me. I fully expect him to just like ream Dana or something. We'll see. But well, who knows? Body Lock, which I'm assuming is Jake, is asking.
Hopefully.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, give y'all a peek behind the curtain. Which outcome is more likely? Miocic by sub or Woodley by sub? Both are now, man. Well, so I'm pissed about that. They're now both plus 2,500 because I got Woodley by sub at plus 2,000. I think that's the more likely outcome myself. I think it's either decision or KO by Miocic myself.
Yeah, I would be stunned to see submission from either man in that heavyweight title fight. Does Stipe, has he ever had a submission even his whole career? I mean, yeah, that would be very
although
shocking.
He was, again, watching the tape, he was close at one point where he took the back and almost sank in a rear naked against Francis at one point. So
really?
He could.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, if he,
right.
Yeah,
he lost by submission, but again, it just didn't happen. Stipe tapped.
Woodley's true, very true.
I
Yeah,
was
the
like,
ref
that,
missed
wait,
it.
it's like, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, ref missed it.
Bullshit.
Mhm.
But no, Woodley I think is more likely. I mean, he's the black belt. We've seen submissions out of him. Just if he takes the fight where it would be smart for him to take it, then yeah, there's a higher probability of a submission. So,
And Luque is lost by an arm triangle, which I think would be one of the most likely submissions Woodley could hit. So
He's lost twice by an arm triangle, right?
once.
Okay, once. But he's lost by submission more than once.
Once.
Only one time?
Yep.
Oh, well.
At least
Still.
according to Tapology. They don't have the actual method of loss in his first two losses. So maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I swear. So, yeah, so I have Wikipedia, Capital Fight 2. He lost by triangle armbar to Felipe Portela.
Okay. There you go.
And oh yeah, no, that's it. So yeah, I could, again, as I talked about earlier in the stream, I think he could get submitted for sure, and I think that's Woodley's. I think Woodley hurts him because we know Luque has been knocked down before, has gotten hurt before, especially his style. He just eats strikes. I think one big shot by Woodley gets him down, does a similar situation that he did to Darren Till, submits him some way. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, me, Bruce? Yeah, well, you know, I just did. I just went out and got it. No, I am fully vaccinated. Luckily, not luckily, based on how you want to look at it, I was more of a priority health person. So I got to get my vaccinations early. And then I know a particular hairstylist that keeps good protocol, all that stuff. So it was like, okay, cool, fully vaccinated. Let's, because my hair was getting bad. And Matt kept saying I was wearing a MAGA hat, which wasn't true. But every time I wore the red ball cap.
I mean, you wouldn't turn it around. I don't know how else to explain it. You refused to turn around and show the logo.
He revealed it with me and Ant.
This is slander.
He revealed it with me and Ant.
No, yeah, he did show me off air, but he didn't want to show it on video. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what it is.
We never saw in front of that.
You never saw
Exactly.
that. Well,
Feel
I
it.
can go
I'll
get
show you the front
hat.
of my head right now. There you go. Boom.
Yankees.
How hard
Oh,
was that?
man.
How hard was that?
I didn't know you were a Yankees fan.
I mean, I got connections. So yeah.
Oh, all right. Let's see here. Like this question. Which is more likely to happen first? Islam versus Gaethje or Islam versus RDA?
Islam versus RDA, I think.
Agreed.
For me. It's a big win. Big win, former champ to put on the resume. I think Gaethje is going to be in a title fight next. So
that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, with that in mind too, we're going to say we're going to keep this an hour, a little bit over, because we love you guys. We appreciate you tuning in. We are going to hit the Fight Companion and of course the post-fight show. Fight Companion starts at 6:30, I believe. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Random Events, without the E and a Z on the end. We appreciate you. We really do. No, it's awesome. But we're going to wrap this one up. Again, really appreciate you joining us. If you haven't liked and subscribed, bell notification, all that, make sure you hit it. Otherwise, again, love doing these tailgates with you. Love having fun, just chatting about the fights coming up. Hopefully this night of fights delivers in spades. I am really excited about Axe's prediction for a Holloway Qatar style matchup where Miranda Maverick lands like 500 significant strikes and just murders Robertson. We'll see if it happens, but appreciate all the questions as well, because that's why we're here. We're here for you guys. Sid, love you. Mark, also love you as well. Cheers to everybody, and we'll catch you in the next tailgate. Enjoy the fights. We'll see you at the Fight Companion.